Okay, let's talk about hair loss, but let's talk about the right way to treat it because you know what? It turns out most people are going about it completely backwards. And that one simple mistake, well, it can cost you a ton of time, money, and frankly, your results. We're going to break down how to avoid that trap, so let's get right into it. So, you're thinking about tackling hair loss, right? It's a journey, for sure. But here's the thing. There's a huge decision you have to make right at the very start. And honestly, picking the wrong path from the get-go, it can change everything. Yep, you heard that right. Backwards. It sounds kind of crazy, but the most common approach, the one you see in all the ads, is literally the opposite of what actually works. And making that one mistake, well, that's what leads to all the frustration, the money down the drain, and results that are just meh. All right, section one, the common treatment mistake. So, what is this backwards approach that so many of us fall for? Well, it all starts by jumping straight for the stuff you see marketed everywhere. Yeah? Does this list ring a bell? Minoxidil, those low-level laser therapy caps, maybe even PRP injections? When most of us decide to do something, this is where we start. I mean, these are the big names, right? They're super popular and you hear about them all the time. And here is the thing you absolutely have to understand. All of these treatments, they all fall under one single umbrella: growth stimulation. Their whole job is to force your hair follicles to grow. And look, that sounds awesome, right? But it's only half the story, and it's the wrong half to start with. Okay, so let's dig into that. Why isn't stimulation enough? I mean, why is just focusing on growth a flawed plan? It's simple, really. You're treating the symptom, not the actual cause. And this quote from the research really just says it all. These treatments, quote, do not block the underlying reason for the loss. Just let that sink in for a second. They're working like crazy to push new hair through, but they do absolutely nothing to stop whatever is making it fall out. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You know, here's a great way to think about it. Only using growth stimulators, that's like seeing a plant with yellow leaves and just spraying the leaves with water. Sure, it might look a little better for a minute, but you're totally ignoring that the real problem is bad soil. If you want to save the plant, you got to fix the soil, you got to fix the roots. It is the exact same thing with your hair. So, let's talk about finding your root cause. If we need to fix the soil, what are we even looking for? This right here is the single most important step. It's about figuring out what's really causing the problem in the first place. And the research shows that it almost always comes down to one of these three main culprits. You've got DHT, which can basically shrink your hair follicles. Then there's inflammation in your scalp, which just makes it a terrible place for hair to grow. And finally, you have nutritional gaps. Odds are, one of these is the real root of your problem. And that is the whole game, right there. Before you even think about buying a growth stimulator, your number one job is to deal with whichever of these is affecting you. And yeah, this is something you'd want to talk to a doctor or a dermatologist about to really nail down. It's like you gotta plug the hole in the boat before you start bailing out the water. Otherwise, what's the point? All right, so let's lay out the right way to do this, the right two-step approach. This is the actual game plan, the strategy that leads to real results that actually last. And the sequence is super simple, but it's so important. Step one, you deal with the underlying cause. You work on blocking DHT, calming inflammation, or fixing your nutrition. Then, and only after you've done that, you move to step two. That's when you bring in the growth stimulators to really kick things into high gear and speed up the progress. So, why is this order so crucial? What's the payoff? Well, the benefits are huge, and they actually solve two of the biggest fears people have when they start treatment. Benefit number one, you're going to lose a lot less hair when you first start. You know that initial shed people talk about? It can be pretty scary when you start a growth stimulator. But if you've already handled the root cause and stabilized things, that shedding effect is way, way less intense. And here it is, the big one. Benefit two, your results are going to be substantially better. And that's a direct quote. Think about it. You're no longer fighting an uphill battle. You've stopped what's causing the problem, so now every single hair you stimulate has a real fighting chance to stick around and actually thrive. So we're going to leave you with this one final thought. The first question shouldn't be, what product should I buy? The real question you need to ask yourself is, what is the actual reason I'm losing my hair? Finding the answer to that question, well, that's the key that unlocks the entire thing.